Now that you have the most important part of this warm-up, which is the intent, let's take a quick look at the full series we have here in each movement that we have involved. First off, we're setting up two different cone lengths here. The shorter length we're using for just about all of our warm-up exercises, and the longer length is going to be just for our shuffles, our karaokas, and starts if you choose to do some of those here. First off out of the gates is our knee up, toe up. Here we're getting to a fully postured position on each leg lift, coming to a complete pause for a split second on each, and pulling up from our toe towards our knee. This here is to help emphasize good running form, and even though a fluid walk is actually going to be heel toe, I like to practice a mid-foot strike here just because it's something that I had a hard time with as a runner. Next up is our backwards lunge and reach. Here we're getting some depth to open up our hips while getting a full reach overhead with both arms. Remember, we're challenging our depth, but only to a point where we can keep our hips squared up totally forward, and on our reach up, we're trying not to arch out the back. We're going to try to keep our ribs from flaring while we reach overhead. You'll see this may limit your range overhead, which is good. It means you're reaching the right way. Now our lateral side lunges are going to be great for our hips, and this one we're really going to focus on our upper body posture. Any tightness in the hips will have you compensating by rounding out the lower back, so we're really pushing through with the flat back and trying to work on your depth from there. Weight should be stacked, which we go over in more depth in the goblet squat video, but anyway, weight through your heels here, and we're getting a bounce out and spinning into our backside on each rep. Here's the world's greatest stretch. Well, maybe it is. I used to think my college coach was just being funny with us. Come to find it's the actual name. Who knew? So with the world's greatest here, we're reaching out into a front lunge and bringing our front side elbow to the ground to that same side foot. Remember, our hip positioning is our priority, so don't worry about getting it to the floor. Really focus on maintaining your posture, pulling your belly in, and keeping your hips forward in your lunge before lifting up and get your butt up and back, which is now getting to stretch your backside and getting it all opened up through your hamstring. Same positioning rules here, upper body postured up, headlight squared up, and then we're finally coming open with that same side hand to the sky. To make it easy, everything happens with your lead arm. So that front side leg, that same arm is going down, that elbow to your leg, and then that same side arm is reaching up to the sky. Then we'll repeat that all the way down, try to get at least 2 on each side. Here we start our skip series, so first off our skips for touches. We're facing forwards, maintaining a good upright posture from our torso, really focusing on hitting with a mid-foot strike on each touch. So here we're not trying to cover ground forward, we're trying to get as many touches as we can in between cones. And this is also a great time to work on our arm swing and coordination with our movements. Start developing a rhythm and noticing the connection between your arm swing and each skip. Lateral skips for touches, all points of focus are the same here, just that we're moving sideways or laterally. One of the key things through these skips is we're moving on each skip from a push off our back leg, and that's the only place we're getting our momentum from. So looking here, it's a push off our back leg, a gather, and then a push off our back leg again, and that's how we're moving from cone to cone. So we're really not gaining momentum through the pushes. Each push is its own, starting from a non-moving position, pushing off, gathering, then pushing back off again. Side skips for distance are going to be the same here, except now we're really trying to cover ground with each push. We're still pushing off our back leg, gathering, and now we're really trying to cover some ground, getting some space, and seeing how far we can push ourselves off laterally. Same upper body posture here, and our mid-foot strike all apply. Now here are our skips for height. Pretty standard. The only thing we're really focusing on here is getting as high as we can, trying not to gain too much ground forward. We should be getting some solid height and still getting a good amount of skips between cones. Now is where we start using our cones that are spread out farther away. First, we're doing some lateral shuffles. I know most coaches say drop your butt down low here, but here we're not trying to focus so much on getting our butt down. It's more dependent on what your hips allow while being able to maintain a full upright, flat upper body posture. So this doesn't necessarily mean we're dropping our butts to the floor. If you can, that's great. But the main thing here is we're staying down on the balls of your feet, eliminating head movement from bobbing up and down when you hit the ground, and we're keeping from banging our heels or crossing our legs over each other. And finally, we have our karaokas. Here we're starting facing the side and simply alternating a step behind, then a step in front, and repeating. So we're alternating steps, still maintaining our upper body posture, and this being the exception to our hip headlight rule. We're really trying to open up and swing our hips over and our crossover in this one. Really drive up and over with that knee in your step in front and emphasize that hip swing. But that's it for your dynamic warm-up. And if you want to use that cone length farther away to get some starts in, by all means go ahead. But again, really pay close attention to your hip, foot, and upper body positioning here and you can really make some improvements to your running form and other basic movement patterns that can go a long way and have a huge positive effect on your game. But thanks for powering through this one with me, and go get after your dynamic stretch routine.